Now, there is some hope among Australia and other countries that without U.S. involvement, the TPP proposal can move ahead. Let's bring in Stephen Chiobo. He is Australia's Minister for Trade, Tourism and Investment, and he joins us now live from New York. Sir, thank you so much for joining us here on CNN.
Pleasure.
Of course, as reported, the TPP in its current form is dead. But is it true that you plan to create a parallel agreement with other TPP members and without the U.S.?
Well, we have had discussions about a reformulated TPP. Let's call it a TPP 12-1. The minus one, of course, being the fact that the United States is now not going to be part of the TPP. The fact is that the gains that were achieved and agreed to under the TPP are so significant that there's a widespread view among many countries that are TPP members that we shouldn't let these gains slip through our fingers. And so we've been having some preliminary discussions about how we might be able to capture within a new reformulated TPP those gains, just less the United States.
Absolutely. You don't want to get rid of any gains that were already negotiated over the years. But several countries, including Japan and Malaysia, they've signaled that a TPP deal has no meaning without the United States. So is a, as you put it, TPP 12-1 even possible?
Well, this is a subject that we've discussed most recently at the World Economic Forum, and in fact we had an informal WTO ministerial meeting as well. I had the opportunity to talk with Japan, to speak with Canada, Mexico, conversations with Singapore, with New Zealand, with Malaysia, and there's a general consensus that there is gains there that need to be held on to. Now, ultimately, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. There's discussions that need to be had. Obviously, in the case of Canada and Mexico, they'll be watching what happens in terms of NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement. So there's a number of moving parts to this. But I go back to that central point, which is that there's a lot of progress that was made under the TPP, which we don't want to let slip through our fingers.
Yeah, but even if you do move forward, with multiple players involved, but without the U.S., any economic benefits would be significantly reduced, right?
Well, yes and no. And this is exactly the question that needs to be asked and analysed. I mean, in Australia's case, we already have a free trade agreement with the United States, and we've been a good friend with the United States for, of course, decades and decades, and we want to continue to build on that relationship. But under the TPP, we had the opportunity to have, for the first time, a comprehensive agreement with, for example, Canada and Mexico, which we don't currently have. And the same applies to a number of other countries. It was the opportunity to actually have some strong bilateral agreements within the framework of the TPP. Plus, it was the fact that we saw under the TPP the application of standards like environmental standards, labour standards, those types of benefits which we don't want to lose.
Now, you mentioned those benefits like labor standards, and I got to ask you a question about China. Because with Trump pulling out the TPP, many people are saying that the door is open for China to assume a global leadership role in trade. But given China's history, is that a good thing?
Well, I'd always reject the notion that it's one or the other. The fact is that these operate in parallel. Australia is also a member of the negotiations around the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or what's called RCEP. We're part of that because, of course, our geography is within Asia. We're having discussions with a lot of trade partners. We already have in place a free trade agreement with ASEAN countries, but RCEP provides opportunity to have an agreement on a broader basis, 16 countries in total. So there's a key role there for RCEP, and in fact, part of the vision was to have both RCEP and the TPP coming together at some future point for what they call the Free Trade Agreement area of Asia Pacific. And that's the long-term APEC vision, to have a regional trading bloc across Asia and the Pacific.
And finally, I want to get your reaction, your gut reaction to Donald Trump's decision here. We know it was expected. He did for a long time pledge to scrap the TPP. He's done that. But how do you feel about working with America under Trump and the trade relationship between U.S. and Australia?
Look, Australia and the United States have been long friends for a long time. We're very close friends, allies, and we will continue to have a very solid and sound working relationship under the Trump administration, as indeed we had under the Obama administration. As far as I'm concerned, as Australia's Trade, Tourism and Investment Minister, we will go forward, and for me, in the case of pursuing Australia's national interest. Now, we'll pursue that national interest under multilateral, plurilateral as well as bilateral deals. I understand the Trump administration only wants bilateral deals, and of course that's their prerogative. In Australia's case, though, we'll pursue multilateral, plurilateral and bilateral deals because we can achieve good outcomes for Australia using all three.
All right, Stephen Chiobo, Trade Minister of Australia, joining us live from New York. Thank you very much. Good luck to you. Take care.
Thank you.